Okay. Hello and welcome back again for another installment and a video for the village, our channel that is growing thanks to all of you. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, subscribing. I've noticed that I've had to send the link to a few of you because when you go to search for it in YouTube, it's kind of impossible to find. So we have been able to develop a Facebook group, and I post videos on there. That way you could click on the video there and watch it, and you know still have access to the rest of the channels. But it's kind of like a little segue into finding the YouTube channel, so and leaving comments and things like that. So thank you so much for your support, your love, your patience. I am so out of practice when it comes to videos and filming and things like that. And sometimes I could be my own worst critic. But this is me. This is Mrs. Dama. I am a mom of 4 beautiful children. They all have special needs. And the oldest is 10. The twins are 7. And they have a bunch of different types of diagnosis and different things going on. And nowadays, honestly, what child kind of doesn't? But as I mentioned, all children that struggle do not have a disability, and children that may have a disability, they may not all the time struggle. Every child is different. Every child is unique, and we are here to educate you parents in hopes that you would feel confident and that you will find your way to advocate for your child, because you are your child's biggest help, advocate, MVP, you name it. You are the most valuable player on the team of support and specialists in regards to your child. So you making sure that you are caring for yourself and that you are finding resources to help you navigate through your community and get help for your situation financially, counseling wise, support groups. That is key and critical to you being able to survive this journey called parenthood, whether you have a child with special needs or not. I have yet to meet a family and as many people as I talk to where they tell me, I have a nephew with autism, I have a niece, I have a cousin or a brother, everybody, and not just with autism, some type of disability. Everybody is gaining more knowledge, more information, and I'm so excited because it is now becoming, the topic of conversation and how we can help each other, support each other, and live the best life we all can possibly live. So I'm excited, and I hope you're excited, and I hope that you are able to take away something from this content, something from just me kind of getting on here rambling. I'm hoping you're able to take away something that I said, because 3 years ago, maybe even longer than that, I was not always, you know, as excited and put together. I had many nights where I struggled to come to terms with how my life and as a mom, everything was going to kind of be. And it was very hard, very difficult to kind of brave through and soldier through at times, but it was because of the support of family, friends, resources in the community, different people that I would meet when I would take my kids to speech therapy or occupational therapy, just the different moms. We will sit in the lobby and we would share stories and just kind of bring certain perspectives into play. And I learned so much, so much. And I know that if it helped me just sitting there talking and having an open mind and an open heart with these women and with these families, I know it could be just as effective and just as important to many of you. And a lot of times growing up, we are taught to kind of mind our business or, you know, stay out of it and things like that. You can't help but notice some things, and some things need attention. I've gotten a question in regards to how my family has been affected by having children with disabilities, and what does that kind of look like. And it's amazing how some questions still just leave me flabbergasted. I am without words. But I'm glad that I'm able to answer. Some questions are still a little bit hard to answer because they bring back so many memories, and they're there. And for me to be able to gracefully answer, it takes me a little bit. So thank you so much for bearing with me, being patient. We are going to go over 3 questions again today in this segment. And one of those is, how has my family been affected by the diagnosis and having children with special needs? And I must say that I've learned so much. I've learned that I have so much strength that I didn't even know I had. I thought I was just limited to, this is what I do, this is mom, cook, clean. No, I had so many gifts and talents and abilities to, with my children, to be there for them, learn with them, educate them, because each of my kids are different in how they learn and how they perceive the world and how they end up interpreting the world. And all the time, I was not always able to give an appropriate response to everything they were doing, from writing on the walls and climbing up the stairs backwards. The kids just experiment and do some of the most just not safe things. And I'm just like, what are you doing? You trying to give me a heart attack. It has just been one of those journeys where I have to just sit back and say, you know what? I'm going to let you decide if you want to jump off 4 steps, but do know that it may hurt. So how about you just think about it for a second? I had to get to a point where I allowed them to discover their strengths and weaknesses. I had to come alongside them and learn how to challenge them and also discipline them, but not break their spirits. I have learned so many different things about my kids and how they receive love and how they receive correction, versus back in my day, my parents only had one way, and that was old school. Grabbing and, yeah, that's right. You got a whooping. So, yes, it has been different parenting a kid with special needs, or my children with special needs, versus how I grew up. And I have 10 brothers and sisters, so we all got our times where we got in trouble. I hated getting in trouble. But yeah, growing up, how my parents raised us and how I'm learning how to raise my kids is 2 totally different dynamics. And I'm learning to appeal more to the emotional side. And I learned that in therapy, a part of my self-care journey and healing. and learning how to express myself and what it is that I really want and what I really need, and making sure people understand me, and then I understand that they can do it or they can't. So I had to learn how to approach my kids, teach my kids, and I did that a lot with watching kids shows, believe it or not. I watched how the adults would interact with the children. I watched how they would be patient with them, how they will get down to eye level. And I read a few books, and then I went to some seminars, some webinars, and I got so much good information, and it helped me so much with my kids with this whole power struggle thing. I started to notice that kids discover their will after a while. And when they discover their will, they want their way. So for my daughter Genesis, she does not like to go to bed. So I would say, all right, Miss Genesis, would you like to have a book in bed or would you like to have a snack in bed? And she would go, ooh, I want a snack. And I go, yeah, I think a snack would be good too. I said, but you know what? You can also look at your book and look at the pictures. And she would be like, yeah. So I would give her a choice, but at the same time, getting what I wanted by wanting her to get into bed. So then she would have her snack, and then she would be looking at the book and the pictures and making up her own kind of story because she struggled with reading due to kind of looking at things backwards. She's was getting tested for dyslexia. So she would just like to look at the pictures and kind of describe to me what was in the pictures. So discovering that she was a strong-willed child and I didn't want to fight and argue back and forth. It's a child, so I had to learn a few mind games and techniques, and it worked. And I was so excited because I'm like, yeah, I got this. So learning so much, being open to learning is key when raising children, being a parent, parenthood, period, being open to change, trying new things. And if it works, great, stick with it. If not, try something different. Never stop learning, because they never stop learning, and never stop discovering. And again, being patient with them and being patient with yourself. So key. And the next question, how would one go about telling another parent that they suspect their child has a disability? There's one thing I can remember a wise man once told me. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I'll say it again. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So if you suspect a niece, a nephew, if you're a caregiver or a teacher, you suspect it. Well, as a teacher, you would professionally get a meeting together and gather the evidence and present it to the parent. But if you're an aunt or uncle and you are suspecting that something may be off, it's always good to educate yourself. Don't go straight in for the kill, because people are very sensitive about their kids. You can't just go up to somebody and be like, I think your kid may have such and such, or I believe your kid is missing milestones. Or don't go asking them questions about their child, because that's sensitive and personal. So that could get tricky. Ooh, excuse me. That could get very tricky. And so the best way to go about it is engaging in some friendly conversation, perhaps asking, how long has it been since your child has spoken these words? Or, how many books have they read, or, are they interested in puzzles? Are they interested in more so these clanging toys and sounds? When have you noticed them wanting more so to avoid play with other children, and they just want to play by themselves? You have to develop a comfort level, and that person has to really understand that you care and that you concern. There are levels to these sort of things, and a lot of times that person, once they get comfortable with you, they will kind of voice their concerns. They may tell you, hey, how old was your child when they were potty trained, or how old was your child when they were talking and walking? And then you can share and say, well, they were this age and that age, how about yours? And they may tell you, well, they seem to be coming along a little behind. And then that's when you can let them know, well, there's different resources in the community. It's always best to ask your primary care doctor, because they would know best. And let them know that there are certain things that they can look up on the website, or Google or CDC website for themselves, and just kind of go through the questionnaires and things like that. And that way they can have some information, and then you could just begin to slowly develop that dialogue. If people are not receptive of information from you, leave it alone, and possibly just hope that the school will pick it up, because there's nothing you can do. If they're not going to be open and receptive to information that comes from you, then you'll make matters worse. So just keep the peace, and keep your peace, and hope for the best. And it's very hard to do, especially when you see a child that's struggling, and it's best that they are enrolled in early intervention services as soon as possible. However, if the parent doesn't suspect anything wrong, then there's absolutely nothing you can do. So yes, when it comes down to trying to explain or express your concerns to another parent in regards to their children, and if they are suspected to have a disability, or you suspect them to have a disability, tread lightly, tread carefully, because people feel some type of way in regards to their children. They can feel that you're making an attack on their parenting skills, calling them a bad mom, calling them a bad father. People can take things all sorts of ways. But just, proceed with caution. You may be able to shed some light. You may be able to, reach them. And then again, it may just be a situation you want to leave alone. And so for our third question is for co-parenting or a shared custody situation. What happens when one parent suspects a child of a disability and the other parent does not, and they disagree? This can be challenging, and the best advice I could give in a situation like that is, if you are the parent that suspects the child of having a disability, it's best that you do the research, educate yourself. If you are concerned that the other parent is not following up on certain things, and maybe that parent is the one that takes the kids to the doctors, it may be possible to ask if you can go to the next doctor's visit and voice your concerns, and just ask and see what the pediatrician says. But the best thing you can do is educate yourself, and have recordings and pictures of either their speech, their fine motor. Are they able to write their name, and at the appropriate time? Are they able to do ABCs, 1, 2, 3s? Can they correctly do letter sounds with all of the letters? Are they able to read? Are they able to write? Are they able to follow 2 and 3 step instructions? These are certain things, depending on, of course, the age, that you can begin to educate yourself about if you are concerned about your child whom you share custody with of having a disability. There's could be a lot of things that you can do, and then there may be a lot of things that you probably can't do as far as like the red tape of the situation. You know your situation best. You know your situation better. Because I have spoken with parents, some individuals who are concerned about their child being on medication, and they don't like the idea of a child being, their children being on medication. But if the child has primary custody with the mom and the dad has them on the weekends, and he's noticed seeing that, you know, they used to be excited, they used to be moving around and throwing a ball, and now they just kind of want to, the medication just kind of mellows them out. They're in front of the TV, they're lightweight, lethargic, and weight gain, different things with these different types of medications and side effects. Those are valid concerns. Those are valid reasons to possibly seek out alternatives and do the research so that you can feel educated and empowered and prove your point. Maybe it's possible that the dosage is too much and they may want to bring it down, or maybe they're on medication but it's not working and you may have to dial it up. Communication is key. Communication is best in regards to the children, and the best interest of the children is always important. So it's a lot that goes into these matters. It's a lot that comes with children and the family dynamic, and it could be very stressful. It could be challenging in ways that you never thought possible. And with those challenges comes a responsibility to make sure we're doing what's right and doing what's in the best interest of the kiddos. So I would encourage any parent that is in a co-parenting relationship or shared custody relationship to communicate effectively and make sure that the father knows, the mother knows about your concerns, and have proof, have pictures, have video, have everything in place that validates your concerns, that supports your concerns in regards to how to best care for your child medically and moving forward. So again, thanks for questions. Thanks for listening, tuning in. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. This has been so much fun for me. I love filming and being able to come and encourage you guys and just share some different things, different topics, because they get pretty interesting and it gets like the rabbit hole gets deeper. But we always find a light at the end of the tunnel. We always try to encourage everyone to seek peace and seek the best interest of the children and communicate effectively and to be patient with yourselves. We talked about the 3 critical steps in our first video, and that is, of course, have a self-care routine, take care of yourself, massages, eating right, exercise, checking on your health, making sure you putting your oxygen mask on first, because we need you healthy and at a great place mentally, physically, and emotionally, so that we can better care for the children and we can better communicate effectively and follow any instructions given to us by our advocates or our community resources, our case managers. If they have some recommendations for us, we want to follow up on those. We want to be good stewards of the information that is given to us especially when it involves the well-being of our kids. We want to follow up on that. And of course, third critical step is education. Educating yourself in regards to your child's diagnosis, in regards to the doctors, the schools, everyone on the team, everyone that's going to be looking after your child, the treatment plans that are going to come along. Educating yourself, empowering yourself, because the more you know, the more you grow. Knowledge is power. We all know that, and we've heard it, and it's true. So, once again, thank you for tuning in. Go check out the Facebook page. Plenty of content, plenty of topics. Like, share, subscribe with other members. Participate, join in, conversate with us. We want to hear from you. Also, email us if you have questions, if you would like just to talk, just to vent. Leave us your contact information at thevillage419@gmail.com. We are here for you. We want to come alongside you because we all know it takes a village to raise some children. Thanks again. Over and out.